Prime Minister Tony Blair, distinguished guests, I am intimidated. Tony, you know as well as I do that the reason why there are so many people here at this moment is purely out of curiosity. They want to see what a pensioner from the colonies looks like. Zaldina, I'm not an old man. Please take these glasses. One of the distinguishing features of the anti-apartheid struggle was the very broad support it enjoyed from most political persuasions in almost every country in the world. Apartheid was experienced as such a basic onslaught against human dignity that it demeaned all of us. The political parties in the major Western countries had different approaches in their support for the freedom struggle in South Africa, but none could ever condone racism of apartheid. The universal abhorrence of apartheid contributed significantly to the ultimate victory of freedom, non-racialism, and democracy in our country. One, therefore, has an appreciation for the support received from people all over the world, irrespective of their party political affiliation. There were, however, political parties and organizations in the Western democracies with which the liberation movement developed a particularly strong solidarity relation. This derived from a common approach to such social issues as poverty and the primary concern for the marginalized. These relationships were built and consolidated in joint action and struggle with the solidarity forces in those countries. The Labour Party of Britain is one such organization. It therefore gives us such great pleasure to join with you here today at your party congress in the year that the party celebrates its centenary. Allow me, in the first place, to convey my hearty congratulations to the Labour Party. I am certain that I can do so on behalf of all the freedom-loving people in our country. who appreciated the extent to which the attainment of democracy in South Africa was also due to our solidarity partners internationally. I know that I can do it on behalf of the organization that you supported so faithfully over many decades, the African National Congress. Britain was in so many respects the second headquarters of our movement in exile. Your solidarity helped to make those years of exile bearable and contributed to them not turning out to be wasted years. With you, we can look back to the proud beginnings of your organization, rooted in the concern to give organizational voice to those without power. To have sustained over a century such an organization is a tribute not only to the Labour Party, its leadership and members. It is testimony to the resilience of the spirit that continues to believe that the world can be made a better place for us all. It defies and gives a lie to the pervasive cynicism and loss of hope that characterize so much of political life in the latter part of the last century. The centenary celebrations of such a political organization serves to remind us here at the start of a new millennium of the continued need to persevere in the pursuit of those ideals. The internationalism of which the Labour Party was such a potent part, as we well know, in South Africa, today faces new challenges. At a time when international solidarity was a triumph of the human spirit over the distance, the barriers of distance and isolation, we marveled at that generosity of spirit capable of reaching out to take part in the struggles of those far removed and in distant corners of the world. Today, the world has become the global village of which we once spoke only in wishful metaphor. What happens in one part of the globe is immediately accessible to the entire world and affects others over great distances. The danger is that globalization can come to mean only the free flow of goods and capital, the open access to markets, the breaking down of barriers to trade and commerce, the concern for the common good, which characterize the international solidarity we spoke of, is in danger of being lost in the current understanding of a global world. We would argue that the shrinking of the globe through the advances in communications and information technology has made it even more incumbent upon us to become once more the keepers of our brothers and sisters, wherever in the world they may be. This may very well be one of the major political and moral tests of the Labour Party in the 21st century. Globalization is extremely important. No country can avoid it. Those who are saying they are not going to prepare for this phenomenon are like saying, I don't recognize winter, therefore I'm not going to buy clothing for winter. We have our reservations about globalization, as I have intended, and we must sharpen and not be afraid to condemn those aspects of globalization which lead to more poverty in the world. We can no longer tolerate where few powers dominate the world and dictate to the world. All human beings are born equal. They must be treated equally. But one can have right expectations in regard to these global expectations only of a party that domestically holds dear those values of solidarity with the poor and the vulnerable sectors of society, especially women, children, the disabled, the aged, those who suffer from terminal diseases like HIV/AIDS, cancer, and others. It is a sad fact of our times that in spite of the massive scientific, technological, and economic advances of humankind, poverty and social inequality remain features of most societies in the world. Our historic relationship with the Labour Party rests upon our common concern to centrally represent the voice and interest of those sectors traditionally excluded from power and privilege. In our own country, poverty remains the greatest social problem, and its eradication our greatest political and societal challenge. I told Prime Minister Tony about an hour or so ago that apart from poverty that I've spoken about, we faced a crisis of a dimension which I cannot put in words. In our country, 10 teachers die every month of AIDS. In one university, a student dies every week. And in one of the most prominent universities in the country, more than 25% of the students are HIV positive. And in one of our neighboring countries, 3 cabinet ministers, one of whom was a doctor, have died because of AIDS. We look to our friends to assist us to stave off that crisis. I told the Prime Minister that President Bill Clinton has given me $5 million to use specifically to fight the scourge. Bill Gates gave me $10 million and my wife $5 million. And the partner of Bill Gates gave each one of us $7.5 million. There are times when I wish I had not got married. Because if I had not, I would have got that 15 million. But what worries me even more is the fact that my wife is becoming more important than I am. There was an ambassador in South Africa who came to me and said, "We want to give your wife an honorary doctorate. But if you accompany her, you will also get a doctorate." You can see the wretched life I am spending. But please don't tell her that I made these remarks. In South Africa, we have achieved a non-racial democracy based on one of the most progressive constitutions anywhere in the world. Our once divided society has come together in an act of national reconciliation that ensures that our political order is stable. We now live out our differences within the framework of our constitutional democracy. The management of our economy is widely acclaimed for the manner in which a sound macroeconomic fundamentals are maintained. The people-centered growth of our economy, with new jobs and increasing prosperity for all our people, has, however, not occurred at the pace and volume we hoped for when we set out on this road of reconstruction and development. The growth of an economy is no longer merely a national matter. Globalization has exactly meant that a nation's best-made plans can go awry due to international factors beyond its control. We have seen that with the financial crisis in the Asian markets, even though our economy withstood that crisis better than most of the emergent economies, the effective growth of an economy like ours is crucially dependent upon direct foreign investment. Yet one often witnesses how the political stability, social progressiveness, and sound economic management in the country are ignored when investment decisions are made. As we stood together to oppose apartheid in South Africa, we are today called upon to join forces for growth and development. Democratic South Africa has no pretensions whatsoever to being a mini superpower in our region, on our continent, or in the developing world. We do, however, realize that we have a responsibility to articulate common concerns of those regions when we do act on the international stage. In doing so, we turn once more to our traditional solidarity partners, like the Labour Party, to add their voice to those clamoring and working for a better and more equitable life for all throughout the world. One of the issues that gives me encouragement in all the turmoils that are taking place all over the world, the thing that makes me go to bed feeling strong, full of hope, and feeling much younger than I am, is that in spite of all these problems, the world is full of good men and women who are prepared to serve not only their country, but the entire world. Men and women who fight socio-economic evils wherever they are to be found in the world. Men and women whose theater of operations is the entire world, who fight poverty, illiteracy, hunger, want. As I look at you here, I can see men and women who are worthy candidates to immortality. When their last day comes, we will be able to say, here lies a man or woman who has done his or her duty to country and to people. They will be like Aristotle or Plato. We will inter them into the earth, but their names will live for eternity. That is how I conceive the Labour Party, because of the way in which it has selected such economic issues like poverty, like hunger, to fight wherever these have to be found in the world. We are the beneficiaries of that vision, of that sensitivity to problems across the seas. And that is how the Labour Party has conducted itself up to today. And that is why I'm confident that there are good men and women all over the world. Those good men and women are to be found in the Labour Party of Britain. I wish you well as you enter the second century of your organizational life. The health of a democracy is ultimately dependent upon the vibrancy of its political parties and the active participation of the citizenry. It is our wish that the human solidarity that has inspired the Labour Party for such a long time will be kept alive in action. May this century be one where the poor and marginalized come into their own and the gross social inequalities of the past at last are eradicated. Turn in, ladies and gentlemen. I may have told you the story in the past, but it's crucial that I should repeat it here. The day before my 75th birthday, my security told me that there was a young lady of about 4 at the gate who wants to see me. I say, let her come in. They say, sir, she's very cheeky. I say, precisely for that reason, let her come in. Indeed, she was quite a lady. I was sitting in my lounge. She did not knock. She did not greet. When she came in, she said, how old are you? I say, well, I can't remember. But I was born long, long ago. She said, 2 years ago? I say, no, much longer than that. Then she said, why did you go to jail? I say, no, I did not go to jail before because I wanted to. I went there, I was sent there by other people. Who sent you there? People who don't like me. She said, how long were you there? I said, man, again, I can't remember. But I was there for a very, very long time. Now she insisted, you must tell me. How long were you there? I say, no, I've already told you that I can't remember. She then said, you are a stupid old man, aren't you? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel that my remarks have not measured up to your expectations, please be a little more diplomatic than that young lady.